Perfectionism is just procrastination in a fancy suit. Most people never launch their business, write their book, or start their channel because they are waiting for a perfect version that doesn't exist. Your brain is using high standards as a shield to protect you from the pain of being judged. Today, we are dismantling the perfectionism trap. I'll show you why done is better than perfect and give you the Stoic framework to finally ship your work and start making real progress. The polishing trap. Why spending 100 hours on the last 5% is killing your career. Perfectionism acts like a fear-based glitch in the mind. It makes you start with a plan and end with a perfect plan. The polishing trap shows up when you believe the last details determine value. You end up chasing small improvements for hours and hours. The phrase 100 hours on the last 5% captures this pattern. That time is spent polishing, not shipping, and gains tend to shrink as you go deeper. The result is a golden prison that shines but locks you down. The draft mindset treats a near-final version as if it must be perfect before anyone sees it. Momentum dies when planning replaces doing. You are not blocked by a lack of skill. You are blocked by a fear-based glitch. Think of the ship it engine as a simple rule. Ship something small now, then improve after feedback. Start by separating done from polished. Create a tight done checklist with clear criteria like content accuracy and audience clarity, not last-minute surface tweaks. Time box the polishing step to a single focus session. This turns a looming final pass into a doable task. Feedback becomes fast when you ship early, because real users sit outside your draft's control. The golden prison loses power when you swap perfection for usefulness. The ship it engine runs on speed and learning, not on perfect surfaces. Clarity comes from a real-world test, not a flawless render. A product update can feel nearly finished after many polished passes, yet users notice only practical fixes. The feedback they give is often about usefulness, ease of use, and quick wins, not tiny visual refinements. The draft mindset can be broken by a simple ritual. Identify the final polish as optional and set a hard limit. When you ship, momentum builds and learning starts. When you don't, you train yourself to wait for perfect conditions. Practical steps to break the polishing trap. Set a hard deadline for polish. Run a one-pass polish rule. Publish a rough draft and plan to iterate later. Use direct feedback channels. Celebrate shipping milestones. Run a quick post-mortem to learn what moved the needle. Keep decisions grounded in real outcomes, not ideal dreams. Carry the metaphor forward. The golden prison dims when you light the way with the ship it engine. Start today by choosing one project, naming the last polish as optional, and shipping something out in the next small window. The goal is to trade the fear-based urge to perfect for a steady rhythm of action. By doing so, you move from planning paralysis to real-world progress. Fear in disguise. Understanding how your brain uses quality to avoid vulnerability. Perfectionism is a fear-based glitch that hides behind the word quality. Your brain uses the idea of being flawless as a shield against vulnerability. The amygdala lights up when you sense possible judgment, and the prefrontal cortex weighs outcomes to predict harm. Finishing feels risky because it exposes a version of you to the world, not just a product. In this setup, quality becomes a barrier to action rather than a guide for usefulness. The golden prison shows up when you chase polish forever. You polish for days, then weeks, then years, while the real world moves on. A designer may tweak a button color until it feels perfect, and meanwhile a simple feature that customers could actually use never ships. A writer circles a paragraph without ever releasing it. A coder waits for a flawless release instead of pushing a small fix that proves the concept and invites feedback. The ship it engine is the antidote. It treats a basic, usable version as the true starting line, not the finish line. You ship something that works enough to learn from, then you improve it. To move from endless polished planning to real action, start with concrete knobs you can turn today. Define the smallest ship that still teaches you something real. Set a hard deadline and protect it like a sprint date rather than a dream. Make a public commitment, even a tiny one, so the fear loses some of its grip when accountability steps in. Release a draft with clear gaps and obvious imperfections, then collect feedback fast and act on it, not after months of revision. Build a habit of microships, tiny changes that accumulate, rather than one perfect leap. After each release, do a quick postmortem focused on what actually moved the needle, not on how flawless the piece felt. The mind can be coached. The draft mindset means treating a draft as the real product for now, not the final version. The ship it engine reframes quality as usefulness and learning, not safety. The golden prison flips value from polish to impact, and it becomes obvious that vulnerability is a data point to improve from, not a trap to avoid. When you ship, you gather real signals from real users, and those signals light up paths you would never see while you were polishing in isolation. Perfectionism loses its grip when you accept that progress comes from small, brave actions, repeated. In the end, moving forward matters more than sounding perfect. The 80/20ths of output. Why you're good enough is often exactly what the world needs. Facts show that a small portion of effort often drives most results. The Pareto principle describes this pattern. A minority of inputs yield a majority of outcomes. In creative work, about 20% of what you do creates most of the value. Perfectionism is a fear-based glitch that sabotages this. It whispers that nothing is ready until it shines, until every edge is smooth. The truth is that the world often benefits from timely, usable output rather than perfect polish. This is the core idea behind the 80/20ths of output. Focus on the few moves that move the needle and ship what you have. Start by identifying the core. The few elements that carry the message or function are the 20% that matter most. First, locate the core idea. Ask what is the one clear takeaway for the audience. Then choose 3 supporting points or 1 critical feature. Create a minimal version that delivers that takeaway. A blog post could state a bold claim and back it with a single concrete example. A landing page could present a strong headline, a concise subhead, and 1 call to action. A portfolio piece can show 1 representative project, a short description of the impact, and a way to reach you. Adopt practical cognitive tactics to keep that 80/20ths alive. The draft mindset means you write quickly and treat the first draft as a rough blueprint, not a final statue. Time box the work to a single session or a short window, enough to capture core value without chasing polish. Ship the draft to a real audience, not your private notebook. Collect feedback and let it drive the next version. A writer posts a rough article with the core idea and a couple of examples, then reads comments that reveal missing angles for the next draft. A developer releases a minimal version to early users and learns what to fix before the next iteration. The Ship It engine turns this into a repeatable habit. Release something usable on a predictable cadence, then learn fast from reactions. Perfectionism erupts when the fear of judgment runs ahead of usefulness. The golden prison is where you stay stuck polishing forever, believing polish equals value. Break free by asking what would still be valuable if it shipped today. Create a simple definition of done. The core idea is present, the user impact is clear, and there is a ready path for feedback. Then celebrate small bets that ship and not the flawless project that never leaves your desk. A design brief, a case study, or a tiny feature can ripple outward and teach you more than the finest, never-sent version ever could. The Stoic archer, focusing on the aim, not where the arrow lands. Perfectionism is a fear-based glitch that keeps you polishing forever. The Stoic archer shifts focus from the landing to the aim. The aim is simple: ship something usable and let improvement follow. The draft mindset treats the first version as a real draft, not a verdict on your worth. With that lens, action beats analysis, and progress starts to move. To apply this, define a clear aim for the moment you will ship. It could be a publish-ready paragraph that explains one idea, or a minimum viable deliverable you can show to a colleague for quick feedback. Make a tiny plan, outline, write, revise once, and then ship. The golden prison is the trap of endless refinement. Name it, set a hard deadline, and walk out. The Ship It engine is a ritual. Set a timer, produce, and press publish or send, even if it feels imperfect. The engine runs best when you treat shipping as a habit, not a miracle. Consider a concrete example. You want to post a micro-essay today. Your aim is a complete 400 to 600 word piece that lands a single clear point. Give yourself 15 minutes to outline, 25 minutes to draft, and 5 minutes to title and tidy. Then hit publish. If a better line appears, you can add it after, but you never stop at the threshold of almost there. That is how you keep momentum instead of spiraling into endless polish. The arc steadying practices are simple. When a perfectionist thought rises, ask for the smallest possible action you can take now that still feels real. That small action becomes your drop into the Ship It engine. Build a weekly rhythm of small ships, not a single monumental release. Track what actually helps readers, not what would make the piece flawless in your mirror. Over time, the aim leads the way, and the arrow lands somewhere useful, even if it isn't perfection. The Stoic archer shows a steady hand, not a perfect bow. The draft mindset: trick your brain by calling every project an experiment. Perfectionism is a fear-based glitch that makes good work wait for a flawless moment. It whispers that any project must be a final verdict, not a test. The draft mindset flips that script by calling every project an experiment. When you treat work as a test, you lower the stakes and invite learning. The mind stops pretending the draft is permanent and starts seeing it as a stepping stone. The golden prison opens when you think you must polish before you publish. It cracks once you label the task as an experiment and release it anyway. In practice, you begin with a small, tangible draft. A rough outline, a sketch, a mini-manuscript. Give the draft a name that signals it's temporary and testable. For writing, jot a clear opening, 2 or 3 main points, and a concise ending. For a product idea, map the core feature and a simple user flow on paper. For a talk, assemble a handful of slides that convey the idea, not the entire presentation. Each draft carries a learning goal, something you want to validate or observe. The point isn't to be perfect, it's to reveal what actually works and what doesn't. Set a definite, brief window for the experiment and commit to shipping something concrete by the end. The ship it engine hums when action follows planning, not when you chase absolute completeness. After shipping, run a quick postmortem. What learned, what surprised you, what you'll try next. Keep a simple log of insights so future drafts can build on real feedback rather than guesswork. If the project grows, you can expand the draft later, but you don't wait to start learning until it's flawless. Common traps pull you back toward the old rhythm. Procrastination dressed as refinement, endless polishing, or treating a draft as a final product. Counter them with a simple rule: every draft must ship and teach you something real. Aim for the smallest viable test you can publish, enough to gather useful feedback, not a perfect asset. When feedback arrives, let it guide the next draft, not derail the project. The draft mindset turns fear into data, and data into momentum. The golden prison loosens, and the ship it engine starts to move. Ship it rituals, creating hard deadlines that force completion over perfection. Hard deadlines sharpen focus and push work from idea to finished. Perfectionism is a fear-based glitch that whispers that more polish means safety. The golden prison is the name for that trap, a quiet cage made of endless tweaks and late-night edits. The draft mindset fights back by treating rough drafts as tools, not final verdicts. The ship it engine starts the moment you pick a hard deadline and commit to finishing what you begin. Ship it rituals turn a plan into action. They demand a concrete ship date and a clear definition of done. They rely on honesty about what must be finished now and what can wait. A simple ritual setup helps. Pick a window, make the finish line visible, and tell someone you trust you will ship. For example, a writer might set a 72-hour window to publish a new post. Day 1 becomes a skeleton draft. Day 2 fills in the core ideas. Day 3 is the publish and a quick promotion blast. A product designer could aim to ship a lean landing page in 48 hours, with a built-in review checklist and a publish moment that everyone watches. The core of the ritual is a tight scope and a hard stop. Break work into must-have and nice-to-have. The must-have is the version you can ship, not the perfect one. Time boxing is essential. Give each task a strict duration and move on when the clock runs out. Include an acceptance checklist that reads like a contract. Does the piece load fast? Is the content accurate? Is the deliverable accessible? Then ship and move to learning. After shipping, collect real feedback fast and decide what to adjust in the next pass. The ship it engine runs on momentum, not perfection, and it rewards quick iterations over endless refinement. Be prepared for wobble and mistakes. A common pitfall is thinking a ship is a failure if it isn't flawless. It isn't. It's a usable piece of work that invites improvement. Use an accountability partner or a public note to reinforce commitment. A short postmortem after shipping is valuable. What worked, what didn't, and what changes will be made next time. The draft mindset benefits from this loop because it learns by shipping and then correcting. The golden prison loses power when the ship date is non-negotiable and the next steps are already planned. In practice, you'll see momentum grow. Fewer digging holes to polish, more steady progress toward real-world results. Feedback over fantasy. Why real-world data is better than your internal critic. Real-world data beats the inner critic every time. Perfectionism is a fear-based glitch that pretends polish equals safety. The inner critic loves long plans and perfect drafts, but it rarely tests those drafts against real people. Facts come from action, not intention. When you ship, you see what actually helps, what is confusing, and what people choose to ignore. To counter this, adopt the draft mindset. The draft mindset treats work as unfinished and ready to improve. It says small, real releases beat endless polishing. The golden prison locks you in polished plans you can't test. The ship it engine kicks in when you release something usable and then adjust based on real feedback. You need to let drafts breathe and learn from what happens next, not from what could happen in your head. Start with one concrete goal you can test with real users. Release a tiny version that makes that goal possible, even if it's rough around the edges. Watch how people actually use it, not how you think they should. Collect what changed their behavior, where they stumble, and what they ignore. A writer might post a rough draft and invite quick comments. A designer might share a simple prototype that shows the core flow. A coder might push a minimal feature that proves the main idea works. Each release should be enough to gather useful data, not a perfect final product. Turn the inner critic into a tool, not a boss. Name it as a data gremlin and ask it to point to real signals. What users did, what they needed, where they paused. Keep a simple feedback log, one page, a handful of notes, so you can reference what actually moved users, not what you imagined. Set a polish budget, a hard cap on refinements before you ship again. Make a weekly review where you compare what happened to your plan and adjust. The ship it engine thrives on fast cycles. Ship, learn, adjust, ship again. With the draft mindset, perfectionism fades, and progress takes its place as the reliable engine. The completion high, training your dopamine system to love finishing tasks. Your brain uses dopamine to push you toward actions that promise a reward. Finishing a task triggers a signal of relief and momentum you can feel in your body. The completion high is a pattern you can train, not a lucky spark. Perfectionism is a fear-based glitch that keeps you polishing in the name of safety. The golden prison sits behind that polish loop, a trap where every small improvement feels like a shield against judgment. You can break free by training your system to love finishing, not just planning. The ship it engine starts with a clear, tiny definition of done. The draft mindset asks you to treat the first pass as exploration, not the final word. You set a gate that says, this piece ships when a reader could understand the core idea in 5 minutes or less. Then you create a rhythm. Write a rough version fast, then stop. The brain lights up when you cross that finish line, and the reward is real. For a writer, a done piece might be a 800-word draft with a title, an opening, a conclusion, and 3 supporting points. For a designer, it's a mock that demonstrates the main flow and a basic visual system. For a coder, a small feature that compiles and runs, even if it needs polish later, counts as shipworthy. To train the dopamine system, pair finishing with quick, visible wins. Micro-commitments matter. Block a short window, say 25 or 30 minutes, and declare the piece done at the end of that window even if it's imperfect. Public signals help, too. Ship it to a friend, post a note in a team chat, or update a status board. The moment you press publish, you get a real nudge of reward, proof that you completed something and moved the project forward. The ship it engine emphasizes this loop. Input, draft, quick test, or review, then ship. Each cycle provides a concrete accomplishment your brain can latch onto. A practical routine anchors the completion high. Start with a crisp done definition before you touch material. Use a template. 1 paragraph for purpose, 3 bullets for evidence, 1 closing line. Name the next tiny step you can complete in a single session, and commit to finishing that step before you stop. Celebrate the small victories without delay. Tell a teammate, drop a note in a project channel, or stamp a checkbox and feel the momentum rise. When perfectionism kicks in, pull the focus back to progress, not perfection, and remind yourself that polishing later won't ruin the ship. It ensures it sails with a crew and a clear course. The draft mindset reframes editing as improvement, not punishment. The golden prison loosens its grip when finishing becomes a habit, and habit becomes your default mode for getting things out into the world. Perfection is a ghost. Progress is the only thing that's real. Many people stall because the mind mistakes polish for value. They spend days refining tiny details and never press the publish button. The result is a string of almost dones that never become real things. Perfection is a ghost. Progress is the only thing that's real. When we treat flawless as the goal, we miss the learning that comes from shipping something imperfect. Real progress is what shows up in the world, not what stays in a file on your drive. The golden prison is what perfectionism builds around you. It glows with the idea that every piece must be flawless before it leaves your desk. That glow feels safe, but it locks you in and slows you down. The ship it engine flips the switch. Set a clear ship date, limit the scope to what really matters, and go. A simple landing page is enough for a first version. A headline that states the value, a single clear CTA, and one supporting paragraph. Ship that, then learn from real visitors. The engine runs best when you treat shipping as a decision, not a reward for perfect thinking. The draft mindset helps you move from plan to action. Start with a rough draft and resist the urge to polish while you write. A practical approach is to timebox your drafting. Write for a set period, then pause to decide what must be in the shipped version. After the draft, run a quick test. Does the page answer the user's question? Does the CTA feel natural? Is the core idea clear? If yes, ship. If not, note 1 or 2 fixes and schedule a short follow-up. Framing work as experiments lowers fear. If a draft misses a point, you didn't fail, you gathered data. The ship it engine likes that data. It feeds momentum, not longing for perfect. Perfectionism is a fear-based glitch. It tells you that any flaw equals a fatal error. The draft mindset reframes that fear as a signal to simplify and test. You can counter the ghost by naming what truly matters: a clear promise to the user, a single value, and a realistic deadline. Limit feedback loops to quick checks rather than endless critique. A practical method is to publish a minimum version first, then iterate in short bursts. This approach turns worry into action and reduces the distance between idea and outcome. Progress compounds when action repeats, and the ghost fades as real results grow. Remember, the goal isn't flawless work. It's useful work that moves forward. Perfection is a ghost. Progress is the only thing that's real. Perfectionism is a fear-based glitch that locks you in the golden prison while your work shelves itself. The draft mindset says, start rough, share it, fix it later. The ship it engine powers you forward. Ship something small today, learn from it, and ship again. Key points to carry. Name the fear and treat it as a glitch to fix. Set a tiny deadline. Ship something now. Use feedback as fuel. Repeat to build real momentum. If you've ever chased polish and watched time slip away, you're not alone. You're not lazy. Your brain is just trying to protect you in the wrong way. So here's a simple move. Pick one thing you can ship in the next 24 hours. Give it a clear scope. Set a 25 to 30-minute timer. Do the work, then publish or share it with someone you trust. Note one thing you learned and how you'll adjust next time. In the next videos, we'll talk about handling feedback without chaos, guarding time for the ship it engine, and turning quick tests into real results. We'll keep it practical and plain, no fluff. The moment to move is now. The ship starts moving when you press publish. Tell me in the comments what you shipped and what you'll ship next. The future content will help you keep the engine running, so you keep delivering. The ship is out of the harbor. Hatch it and ride the future of your work.